Everyone, please rise for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. With respect to tonight's meeting, because of the fact that both the state and the county have declared emergency situation with respect to the coming storm, I think what Bill is of 8 o'clock. I think the state has their emergency decree, and the county is also 8, or is it 9?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. And because Bill's going to have to get back to the Emergency Operations Center, we're going to shorten the agenda, and you're going to remove, if it's all right with all the board, the discussion items and put that on to the next board meeting on the 27th. And effectively, then we'll have, the public hearing, and then, discuss the resolutions that we have, and then, bring it in to the meeting unless there's some other new business. Okay, so do I have, in accordance with that schedule?
I'll make a motion that we amend the agenda. We're going to take all the discussion items out. They'll be moved on to the next meeting on the 27th. So with that amendment, I want to make a motion to adopt the amended agenda.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. I'm going to ask Bill just to comment for the public on the storm that's coming in, since he's been spending most of the day on that and as up to date as anyone is.
Just so folks are aware, the National Weather Service has issued a winter storm warning effective 8 p.m. tonight until 8 a.m. on Wednesday. This is expected to be a long-duration storm with snow beginning late tonight and continuing throughout the day and evening tomorrow into Wednesday. For most of Dutchess County, rain is expected before 9 p.m. tonight with a changeover to snow between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. Snow is expected to be heavy at times during the overnight, between 1 and 2 inches per hour. We'll be continuing with snow as it mixes with rain tomorrow in the afternoon. It's going to start mixing with rain. Rain and snow are expected to be heavy at times on Tuesday. Precipitation is expected to continue into Tuesday night. Now, this is expected to be a heavy snow, which is challenging, especially with power outages perhaps possible. So we're aware of that at the county level, and there are wind gusts expected tomorrow afternoon and evening up to 30 to 40 miles per hour, which can bring down trees and wires. So we're preparing for power outages in Dutchess County, and folks that are watching the meeting right now should be preparing themselves also for power outages. Snow accumulations will be based on location and elevation. Town of Wapacher should see 6 to 8 inches of snow. But the commute tomorrow is expected to be impacted pretty severely. As a result, the county executive has declared a state of emergency effective 8 p.m. tonight with a travel restriction effective 4 a.m. this morning, or I should say tomorrow morning. That travel restriction is restricting travel on all public roadways in Dutchess County effective 4 a.m. With exception to emergency and essential personnel. So there is no traveling on roadways in Dutchess County on any roadway starting at 4 a.m. And that will be something that people need to take note of. The schools have all been advised of this. They should be acting appropriately in the coming hour with cancellations and such. So be aware of that. This could be a significant impact if the power outages do occur, and we are prepared at a county level to mitigate that if we need to stand shelters up and things like that. And at a town level, we've been communicating all day with respect to what expectations there could be. But most importantly, folks should stay off the roads tomorrow morning, and that travel restriction will remain until lifted. So this could be an all-day event tomorrow, so be aware of that.
And town offices, town meetings are closed or canceled for tomorrow. So we'll, and I've also separately from the meeting that Bill was talking about with the county executive and Bill, Central Hudson has already reached out to me, to make sure that they know that I can call them as well as the EOC that Bill helps manage up there. So we are preparing for a significant storm, and if there is any power outages, then Central Hudson will be on top of it, and I'm sure our highway department will be helping as they often do. So If you have any questions, of course, any emergency issues, then 911, correct, Bill? You know, and that center's being manned as we speak, so.
Correct. So if there's any emergencies, call 911. We've upstaffed the 911 center. It can go either way with these storms. If there's no power outages and people stay off the roads, then the call volume is decreased, and we upstaff for no reason, which is what we like to do. If people do get on the roads and there are power outages, then we see call volume increases, which we want to avoid, so we can get these roadways clear. All county offices and facilities are closed tomorrow also.
Okay, thanks, Bill. We have acknowledgement of the minutes of the February 13, 2023 meeting.
Make the motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you. Now, the next item is that we have a scheduled public hearing in the matter of the establishment of the Myers Run Drainage District. Do we have a motion to open?
I'll make a
that?
motion to public hearing.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you. Is there anyone that would like to comment with respect to the proposal, you know, to establish Myers Run Drainage District? Okay. Well,
Make a motion to close the
Seeing none.
public hearing.
Second.
okay, motion second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, motion passed. Now we come to the public portion of the meeting. I have a motion to open the public portion of the meeting.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Do we have any comments tonight?
Make a
Okay.
motion to close the public portion.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second to close the public portion, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Now we'll go to our resolutions. The first resolution is 2023-9. This is a resolution to authorize the town supervisor, town highway superintendent, and town board to execute the agreement for the expenditure of highway monies. We previously addressed the street list, and also have gotten a quote from Highway Superintendent Sheehan previously with respect to what the asphalt prices are.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Well, before we do that, right, so we should first of all talk about the cost of it, and second of all, we should take a look at doing it over a 2-year period instead of just doing it a 1-year period.
Are we bonding or no?
We're going to bond,
This is to bond?
yes.
Well,
For the
I
roads?
don't,
No, this is,
I don't think the
Roads,
financing is as part of this resolution.
yeah, it's not in
No,
here.
not this one tonight.
No, it's not, but, I mean, I think it's a discussion.
Discussion, sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's approximately 1.4 million to do what Mike has suggested in here for the number of roads for the 5.82 miles. So it's probably, if you double that, it'd be 2.4, something you can consider for 2 years. Our interest rate is at 3.75. That's what Munistat told us last time they were here versus 2%. So it's a, pretty decent sized hit from a financial perspective. It's about an extra $14,000 a year in interest that we'd be paying, per month. So it's $120,000 a month now that you'd be paying over 15 years at 3.75, and it's $106,000 at 2%. So again, a little bit higher, but we expect interest rates are going to go up, so we do want to certainly consider that tonight as something. So if this is just to approve the roads that we have, that's fine, but we should also talk about the financing as well.
I agree.
How many miles of road do we have?
5.82 in this.
All right, and just for the record, you will see there's no Ward 1 streets indicated here. I've had a number of conversations with the highway superintendent. We've evaluated the status of the streets in Ward 1 outside the village of Wappingers Falls, and we have determined that this is the best approach that you see on this resolution. Folks need to understand that most of the roads, street miles within Ward 1 happen to be within the boundaries of the village of Wappingers Falls, so that's why it may look a little uneven when you see this resolution. But you guys owe me next time.
And also, I doubt the longer streets, some of them have been already paved in the last, 5 years. So, starting with Vinnie,
Just let the record
Say, Bill,
show,
we're just trying to
We
catch
got it.
let the record show you owe me some street miles and a playground, which I will.
I knew the playground was
You'll
going
collect
up.
on at some point in time.
Yeah.
No, the playground is a
That's right.
separate, I'm just getting it out there for the record. This fiscal year, I think this is the best approach, but moving forward, I am keeping score over here in Ward 1. For the purposes of approving Section 284, I have no further.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. When we talked with Munistat, and also separately talked with them, they said, on the bond, funding, to delay it a little bit to see what, in fact, the Fed may be doing in the next few days in light
Okay.
of the reverberations for Silicon Valley Bank and others. Also, they said that we could consider, assuming the state monies continue to come in as we plan, a ban, which would be a shorter term, possibility. So, I think, let's see what the Fed rates do, and then we can revisit this probably in
So
Jim.
to that point, if you got that adopt a bond resolution for paving, you can adopt a bond resolution for 2 years, but you don't necessarily have to go out and finance
right.
the whole amount. You can take a
Right.
ban on 1 year, the first year,
Correct.
and then, do long-term issues, or you can issue a second ban in the next year, and then convert it to permanent financing at a later date.
And since we have a healthy fund balance too, we'd be drawing probably off some of that, I believe, and so we can see what happens with the interest rates and what the Fed announces to the next one.
And highway paving
Yeah.
is from the DB fund, which is the same tax base
Correct.
as the B fund.
Right.
Yeah, so here we are, we're going through a unique situation here from a rate perspective. We talked about this 6 months ago. We knew this was coming, right?
Yep.
So I think, yes, we do have fund balance, right? But again, we're going to have to look at
Yep.
the pros and cons of using fund balance based on a ban versus bond. I've been through this before. I have faith that this board will be able to look at it based on the expense at that moment in time and decide the best financing approach. I don't think it's something we can talk about or something we can decide at this moment,
No,
though.
agreed. Everybody
I think
else?
it's something we need to discuss.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the point is, you want to consider 2 years, you want to know what the total dollar amount is, and whether we ban or bond, that's a decision we can make down the road, but I was just kind of quoting some of the interest rates we're seeing today, so that people
Right.
are aware, it's going to
Absolutely.
cost us some money, and again, if we decide to use some fund balance or do something else, we can, but again, I just wanted to put, a total dollar amount there, so people are aware.
The other side of this, real quick, is the asphalt on the front end, right? So, there's been years where the asphalt is less expensive, right, on the front end, and the bond rates are high on the back end, right? So we have to evaluate where we stand with that price gauge as well.
They gave us, when Mike did it, it was 10,842 tons at 71.50, so that's the price you just
Okay.
received about 2 weeks ago. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's going to go up or down, but it's a pretty good rate. If you look at what we did last year, I think it was about $70.
Right.
So
it's a good
it's pretty close.
Good rate.
So on the front, yeah, it's definitely
And consistent
reasonable.
with
Yeah.
even before that, as well. So it's a good rate. Yeah, not much higher. Okay, well, we'll come back to this. We can revisit it on the 27th and then see where we go from there.
Okay.
So
Oh.
if you like, I ask bond counsel to grant the resolution for 2 years.
Yes, please.
Yeah, we can, and then,
2.4, 2.5?
well, the one other thing which we haven't discussed, and we're going to need, to discuss it, is the asphalt for the back parking lot.
But that's separate, though, because that's
Yeah.
buildings and grounds.
But we may need to consider the bond, of funding.
I think
if
what
we can lump it together.
I think one of the things we did too, which was the great decision by the board, we went out and we paved Robinson Lane, and Steve did that through, again, Clove, and I think we paid that
Yeah.
out of fund balance. We didn't
Correct.
bond that, so we may be able to do something similar for the
Yes.
parking lot.
Yeah.
But if,
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
so why don't we assume 2.4 for now, because I have a little bit of cushion in there, because it's really 1366, so 1.366, make it 2.8. Thank you, Jim.
2.8 or 2.4?
2.4 or 2.8?
2.4.
2.8.
Respect.
1.4.
With respect to the paving amount, you would typically deduct the CHIPS money that we get.
Correct.
Which is in the neighborhood of about $240,000, $250,000
Yep.
annually. So that-
262, I think.
Yeah, 260, and then there's.
We could use that to lower the bond, but it's not going to be above 2.8 is the point,
Yeah,
right? 1.4 per year.
That's fine. Okay, next item, Resolution 2023-38, resolution introducing local law number 2 of the year 2023, amending Chapter 221 of the Code of the Town of Wappinger to enact a property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters and ambulance workers pursuant to Section 466-A of the real property tax law. Bill, you wanted to say some comments first, and I know Christian's here.
Yeah, so Christian perhaps would be best to give a summation of this, and also if you can compare this to the previous mechanism that existed, I think we had it in our code prior to this new legislation.
We did, we adopted, I think it was 466D it was called, but that exemption capped the assessment savings at $3,000. So really $3,000 times the town's tax rate of $1.80, we were saving firefighters $6.
Thank you.
That was really not, I mean, what the firefighters, in my view, what they do for us is fantastic. If you look at some of the other paid fire departments that we have in Dutchess County, the differences in tax rates is just phenomenal. So we should do everything we can do to incentivize the volunteer firefighters, because I was doing some quick math, and if you have a $300,000 house in Wappingers, and you're, say, in New Hackensack Fire District, you pay $228 in taxes. But if you have a $300,000 house in the town of Poughkeepsie, that's in the Fairview Fire District, you're paying $2,634 in fire taxes.
That is
Difference
just unbelievable.
is massive. Now, though, that's a paid district, obviously. So the fact that we have the volunteer districts, it saves a huge amount of money. So I think whatever we can do to reasonably incentivize our volunteer firefighters is a tax-saving event.
So what would be the difference between the former 466D and this new legislation,
Well,
466A?
This one is 10% of your assessed value with no cap. Or you can set any percentage you like. I believe the law that we wrote up was capping it at 10%.
Maximum is 10.
Right, but you could do 6, 7, 8, whatever you want to choose. I think most people are choosing 10. So, and the school district, the Wappinger Central School District has adopted it.
They have adopted
They
it?
have adopted it.
Okay.
So, I didn't think they were going to, but all of a sudden it just appeared. So I don't know what they were thinking.
So does this become effective if we adopt this tonight, 2025?
It will be for 2025.
And
Just-
when does the school one become effective? Is that 24 or
The
is it
school
25?
passed it on, like February 27th or 26th. So I don't know if they got their resolution.
Because that'd be in by March 1st, right?
Well, I got a resolution from them well, I got a letter from them dated March 1st, but I believe they said at the meeting on February 27th. Although to make it effective, it has to be filed with the Secretary of State, I believe. So I don't know if they were able to make that happen by March 1st or not.
They made it miss the deadline.
So, yeah, I have till May 1st to get it on the assessment roll, so I've got to figure out
Because that's what
where we
happened to
are with
us at
that.
the last one. We missed it. We would have had it on the 27th of February.
Yeah,
We made it
and
deadline.
I understand that. There was a real tight window.
Yeah.
Most municipalities weren't able to make that window. And, you know, my position was, let's make sure we do it right. Let's make sure we get everything in order. And my understanding was we were going to have to lobby the school district. Then I heard that the school district was entertaining it, and it was actually possible that it would pass, which I'm very surprised that it actually did pass. You know, happy that it passed, obviously, because I was going to ask for a resolution subsequent to this approval to encourage them to adopt it, because, as you know, 76% of our tax bill is school taxes. So this is really nominal if it's just the municipality that adopts it. The school district really is the lion's share, so that's good to hear.
You didn't hear anything from Beacon.
I've heard very little from Beacon. They have not done anything with the new senior citizens exemption levels that have come out. They haven't done anything with the veterans levels that have come out. They haven't done anything with the firefighters. Beacon is not usually a district that likes to get involved with those things.
It doesn't matter if they like it or not, we have constituents.
Yeah, that's
that are-
true. But
You know, and they get elected, so they should make their
Right.
constituents the top
So-
of their list.
Right.
And
Well,
being the fact that we haven't heard anything, or you haven't heard anything, troubles me.
Right. Well,
Immensely.
I don't know what they're thinking. I know that the Beacon board has always been very resistant to changing the levels. When we had a new, when the veterans exemption was allowed to be exempt school taxes, because it never was before. This was 5 or 6 years ago. Beacon was one of the last schools to adopt it. They really didn't want to do it.
That's surprising.
So-
They're quick on, let's change the holiday names, but they're delinquent on something that would help the constituents.
Right. Well, the exemptions are a thing. You want to try to incentivize volunteer firefighters.
Right.
You want to, recognize the veterans for what they've done for
course.
us. You want to go to a senior citizen with a limited income and say, we can help
Yes.
you with an exemption, but these exemptions aren't free. So if you go and give everybody these huge exemptions, everybody else has to start paying for them.
I understand
So
that, but these are.
there is a limit, so there's a line you have to be very careful of.
I totally
So,
agree with you, Christian.
right.
I usually do. However, these are people that give back to our community big time.
Right,
Our firefighters, our seniors, the veterans.
Right.
I'm very surprised about Beacon.
Right.
I will look into that because we have a lot of
okay.
constituents.
Well,
in the
I
town.
will try to reach out and speak
That
with
would be, I would
them there.
really appreciate
But
it.
I know their normal thing is to be very hesitant
Yeah, but it's always good
to
to
follow
change.
suit, so.
Yeah.
And
What
they
is that
like to be the
saying?
last one to the bowl, not the
Right.
first, so.
What is that thing, that change is good?
Well, yes, well,
Thank you.
so.
But I would appreciate your help.
As far as firefighters go, my view is maybe it's not even enough, but this is the maximum that we
agree.
can do. And there is a caveat that says, there's an exemption for firefighters on their income taxes. But if you take this exemption on, on your real estate taxes, you can't claim that one too. So I would rather New York State did away with that law and let them get both, because volunteers, the firefighters especially, are very important. So, but that's
Totally.
way above my pay grade, but I don't know. So that-
If you, please let me know how you make out. If you need me to do something
Okay.
too, I'm available. Thank you.
So the income tax credit is $200, I believe.
Right.
So it doesn't make any sense to push legislation like this if only you're going to get a municipality with low taxes like we do, and people get less than $200, then they just take the income tax. So it's key that the school district supports this. It's key that we
Exactly.
are going to support this. And let me say, as a volunteer firefighter here in the town of Wappinger for 32 years, former fire chief, it has never been more difficult to maintain trained individuals within our volunteer fire companies here in this town. We're very lucky. We have a town of almost 30,000 people that is fully protected by volunteer firefighters. Other municipalities that have less population, there are others that have full-time paid departments that are responding. However, due to the hard work of our volunteer fire leadership, we've been able to maintain trained, qualified, nationally certified professionals who are unpaid in this town. So that said, these fire departments, these fire districts within our town are saving taxpayers millions of dollars, literally. That analogy that Christian used was just a brief look at one example of the savings that occurs here in the town of Wappinger. With respect to incentivizing those to remain here in this town and to continue to remain trained and respond, I think this is key. We also need to understand, though, that many of our volunteer firefighters don't own homes in this town because they cannot find affordable homes in this town. So this is just one step. We do have, in my opinion, as I've said before, a housing deficit in this town. We do not have enough inventory for our volunteer firefighters to even stay in this town. That said, I would like to move this resolution, local law number 2 of the year 2023, which amends Chapter 221 of the Code of the Town of Wappinger to enact a property tax exemption for volunteer firefighters.
I'll second it.
And I'll notice, that this establishes a public hearing date in the 10th of April. Okay, so we have a motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you.
If I may, just a couple of, there's some options that are available to the town board that, in drafting this, we included all the options that were available. So there's one option, that grants, a lifetime exemption, for property taxes to any enrolled member who has used more than 20 years of active volunteer service. With the volunteer fire department. There's also a 10% exemption for the unremarried spouse of an enrolled member killed in the line of duty. And spouse of a deceased enrolled member. So those are all options, and again, for the laws, the cap, the maximum exemption that is available is 10%, and that is what's in the law. So this local law includes all of the options and all of the benefits that have been conferred by this law is available. But one of the things that, when the law gets into place, it's not automatic. There's a procedure that's involved regarding the fire companies and enrolled members. There's some paperwork that needs to be done and applications to be filed. So, volunteer firefighters have to know that in order to get this exemption, certain steps are going to have to be taken with their company and with the county.
Yes, and I think it's important that, it is opt-in, number one. These have to be active firefighters who meet specific requirements, which is the idea of this exemption. It can't be for inactive members that no longer respond to calls. This has to be active firefighters that respond to calls and continue to provide the service to our residents.
Who has the responsibility for notifying the firehouses of what has to be done for the firemen?
It's in the law, and my understanding is the fire district, adopt this?
Who's going to contact them and let them know what is necessary for the volunteers to do to get
Well,
this?
I think we got Houstonville covered.
Yeah, well, no, what I
The
think...
other ones we can make contact.
Yeah,
Okay.
what should happen is...
I just want to make sure
Oh, no, we're gonna get the word
everybody's
out.
covered.
Right,
Okay.
so-
Basically, what the districts have to do is provide a roster of who the enrolled members are who are active.
Yeah, so...
And who meet the criteria, more than 3 years of service.
Yeah.
An active member, right.
Right.
Okay.
So I think that once the law is passed and once the final form of the law is complete, the town clerk should disseminate copies of it to the fire district secretaries. And, we'll spread the word also. It's obviously have to be opt-in, just like the previous 466D. So in this case, though, this is a real tangible difference, and I appreciate the support of the board.
I just want to make sure there's a mechanism to get the
Yeah,
information.
well, I thought I'd do some
out. Okay.
outreach, and I could actually go to each firehouse to one of their meetings and
That would be
explain what's
great.
going on. I could bring the forms, they could pass
That
them
would
out.
be great.
That would
Talk
be
with the
very, very
chiefs.
helpful, along with getting Beacon involved.
Yes. And,
Just the other issue too, the existing law that's in place, 466D, expires, I believe, in 2025.
right, we're mandated to actually adopt this law prior to a certain date. I believe it's 26, but I'm not sure. Because it's,
Right.
The law in the books gets phased out and this goes.
So I'll continue to save my
Okay.
$6 for the next 2 years.
so, well, you're going to save $6 on the 23 assessment roll,
Right.
but for the, yeah, so,
I get my $6. Okay.
we'll get it to you as soon as we can.
All right, thank you.
So, but just to say, I believe the version the county is looking at and the school district did include all those options.
Yes.
As far as the lifetime member, the unremarried surviving spouse.
Yeah.
It would be a lot easier for me to administer if we all had the same
Same.
platform, yes.
And then what other political subdivisions or entities exist within the boundaries of the town of Wappinger that would be eligible for this legislation? The fire districts themselves?
Fire district, this is the first time in New York history that a special district can actually adopt an exemption against itself.
Okay, so the fire districts themselves,
The village had a public hearing on it, I'm not sure if they did.
okay, the Village of Wappingers Falls.
Right.
For village residents. What about the library district and the ambulance district?
The ambulance district is ours.
So this local law?
I don't think you're allowed to put it on any special districts besides a fire district,
okay.
but that needs some research.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that the fire district or water district or sewer district can adopt this.
Okay.
So it needs some research. I'm not sure. I know fire districts can do it, which is the first time it's ever happened. Our computer system is not set up to do that. So now the state's scrambling to write patch codes to make that happen.
Okay.
So, but as far whether a library could do it or an ambulance, I'm going to have to get some research.
Just let me
on
know.
that.
I want to make sure
That would be
that
good to know.
we know that information. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Thanks,
I
Christian.
think we only had a motion
Really,
and a
thank
second.
you.
I don't know if we had a full vote or not.
We did.
Did we?
I thought we did.
Okay.
We did vote. Okay.
Are we
One other-
tabling the discussions till next time, or?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
No further.
So we'll talk about the other exemptions.
Yeah, next
Next time, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I was just going to mention real quick, like you said, next time we'll talk about the senior property tax exemption as well. So again, that was kind of tabled tonight, and we moved to the next agenda.
Right.
Hopefully you'll come up and be able to speak to that as well.
Right. Well, they've increased the limits now for the veterans exemption, the senior exemption, and the disabled persons exemption. So some towns have followed suit, some have not. So, again, we don't have to worry about it until March 1st of next year, so we have some time to think about what we want to do.
We'll talk about
Good.
next
Yes,
meeting.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
The
Christian.
next item is Resolution 2023-39, resolution to pay ITC invoice number 117027, amount of $420. Al, you want to make?
Yeah, so what this is we've been trying to get, as people know, Wi-Fi out at Robinson Lane. And what this is we had ITC go out there, check the existing conduit out there to see if we were going to be able to use that. They weren't able to use that, so we're looking for solutions to get Wi-Fi out there. So this is just the initial bill to take care of that. But let me give you a little bit of a status of what's going on real quick. So ITC has lined up some information to provide equipment. It's going to cost about $6,700. It'll cover all the fields out there at Robinson Lane. To purchase the conduit that's required, which is Structure 10S. It's the heavy-duty stuff that's going to cost about $10,000. We've got somebody lined up to take care of that. We have a company that's willing to donate the actual trenching out there. So it's about 1,200 feet they have to go. We also have somebody who's willing to go out there and mark the electrical lines. So Central Hudson did up to the existing poles that are there when you first come in. Now we have somebody else that's willing to do that as well. The things we need to do is purchase the coax cable, and we need Altice, which is kind of the biggest driver, to hopefully hook us up very soon. So we're getting closer to getting Wi-Fi out at Robinson Lane, but we still need some help. And I know the supervisor's been working on trying to get some help with Altice, but that seems to be our major hang-up here. And if we can get that, they say it takes about 3 or 4 weeks to actually hook everything up. So trying to put together a total price, bring it to the board, but that's the reason for the bill tonight. It's $420 to do the initial, checking out what we need, what we don't need, what we have, and what we don't have. So I think this is a good thing if we can do it. So I make a motion that we approve the bill for $420.
Second.
Motion second, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. And thank you, Councilman Kinsella, for your efforts on pulling together that package.
Thank you.
That's very good.
Just for record, Al, I noted to you, I reached out to New York City Department of Parks.
Okay.
They have a contract with Altice and Verizon and Spectrum to provide Wi-Fi service through their parks. So I'm trying to get a copy of they do it as a franchise agreement with the various vendors. So I'm trying to get a copy of their franchise agreement and also to see what equipment they've been using. So I'm in contact with one of the counsel for the Office of Technology and Innovation in New York City. So hopefully we'll get some information back as well as equipment they have.
Thank you, Jim.
And Altice is one
Good.
of the,
Yeah,
Altice does the installations in the Bronx.
okay, great, thanks.
Thank you.
The next item is Resolution 2023-40 in the matter of the establishment of the Myers Run Drainage District in the town of Wappinger, Dutchess County, New York. You have a copy of the resolution in front of you, we've discussed before. Any other discussion on the board? If not, I have a motion.
Make the motion. I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. The next item is Resolution 2023, and this is for the purchase of the Vector truck for the highway department, since the current one is end of life.
End of life, yes.
Right,
it is.
Chris, did you want to make a comment before we?
Yeah, the Vector truck is, for residents, if they don't know, they see the big vacuum truck that goes around and cleans out our basins every time. Every time we have a water and sewer problem, it's out there working, so it's out a lot. The cost of a new one is $479,000. The mechanics believe they can sell it, much like Steve has had great luck selling things at auction, to get a better price. The Highway Department has $150,000 they want to use salt balance, and then we were going to authorize $204,000 of fund balance. Now, in speaking with Frederick, he's suggesting that we pay it at a B fund balance now and move the funds to the capital
Okay.
when they're all said and done.
So we would author,
If I may.
It's DB
I
fund.
would just ask the board to table this resolution because it's subject to competitive bidding because it's in.
It's, they're buying it from a New York State vendor.
You should have the vendor and the information in the resolution. It's not in.
The vendor is Joe Johnson Equipment, Albany, New York.
yeah, let's, do I have a motion? And what else did you need, Jim?
Well,
I can send you a copy.
Because there is some need to,
we copy the
Yeah.
town clerk.
Yeah, we need the specs of the vehicle, so.
We have it.
Can we just circulate that across the board real fast so we can
Yeah.
get eyes on it, and then,
sure,
then we'll have
There
a
you go.
copy of it go to the attorney and the town clerk.
Yep.
And this is a state bid?
Yes.
Okay.
so we would amend the resolution that we have here to include Joe Johnson,
Okay.
the company name and the
I don't-
specs.
So-
It is on, it's on it, in the highlighted,
Yep.
adjacent to the price there, do you see the?
Yes.
On the left side?
No, it's there.
Okay. John DiMartino is great. So,
Yes.
I haven't seen that.
We went over, inspected it, and the fact that it's still running, he's great.
Yeah, Chris and I took a ride
So,
over there.
who made the motion?
Al,
Chris?
Chris,
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, just for the record, Sourcewell contract number 101221-V as in Victor, T as in Tom, R as in Robert.
Okay, we have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Next item is Resolution 2023-42, resolution employing the engineering services for calendar year 2023. We've received a copy of their contract previously, and it's at no increase in fees.
looking at this resolution, it says the town board dated December 31st, 2023. It's 2022, if I'm
Okay.
correct. So that needs to be changed.
Okay.
So there will be no fee increase.
The other thing I think we need to point out, too, is that, again, this is engineering services only. This is not planning.
Correct.
So I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. The next resolution we have is a resolution to purchase genealogy for the Slate Cemetery. And this is with respect to the cemetery records that are incomplete, and would be the board authorizing the purchase of the genealogy for the cemetery at a cost not to exceed $175. This is in order to better maintain it.
Yeah, so this is 84 members. Mrs. Johnson did a great job going out. She's got 475 pages worth of research information on this, on the Slate family. It's one of our small parks off of Deer Run Road. I don't know if people even know about it, but it's very, very small over by the Camo station over there on Deer Run Road. It's been kind of in disarray a little bit, but I know that Steve Frazier and team have gone out there trying to help. And the family's been very, very active. They've actually donated $2,600 out of pocket to help maintain it. Some of the stones are falling down. Done a lot of work for the raking up, et cetera. So they've been out there for the last probably 8-10 years working on that. So asking for $175, again, for the information on the Slate family. They've actually met Slate family members, which is kind of interesting. But again, it is a small cemetery that, we should be maintaining from a town perspective. But I think this would be good for the historian to have and keep records for us. So I'm making a motion to approve the $175.
Second.
Motion second, and we've also done, a cleanup.
I think you've been over there cleaning up, too.
We've done it a couple of times,
Yep.
and it really is a nice, place to.
Which one is this again? Where is it at?
It's up
It's off of Deer Run Road,
Oh, I know where it is.
near
Okay.
Camp.
off Pie Lane.
So, go ahead and call the vote. I
Yeah,
said-
motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes.
Is this one, this is owned by the town?
I believe it's owned by the town as part of a subdivision.
Yeah, Steve's been maintaining it. He's been going over helping out. There's a bunch of logs and things.
The only thing is, I don't know what budget, Frederick's gonna have to decide what budget line for that.
So it should be a fund if we own it, right?
Right.
So we need to determine if we own it. I think we do this one.
I'm pretty sure it came to the town as part of a subdivision.
Yeah, I don't know how we got it, but as you know, Jim, we went through this years ago with cemeteries, town obligations, things like that. So,
Every year, the association of
yeah, every year.
Yeah,
I didn't go this time, but
Yep,
I didn't go to they did have the cemetery training this
They
time,
did.
but I already
I
went
was
to it.
wondering why I didn't see it in class.
and, overall, we're doing.
Oh, you went to that one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so then you know that there's different situations, right? So
Yeah.
what I think we should do, looking downfield here a little bit, identify the cemeteries that are in the town. There are some on private property that we can't touch, like Swartout,
Yeah.
that's on private. But there are a couple, I think there's one off Robinson Lane that's on town property
Yes.
also.
Did a cleanup on that, Chris and I did.
After reading the emails from the family.
Bush.
Yeah, Middle Bush, that's on town property. But reading the emails from this family and the amount of work that they've done with respect to ancestry DNA and whatever, different resources they've done, certainly have no objection to us assisting with that. But I think there might be a market for adopting cemeteries, having residents that live in a vicinity of these things that have an interest in keeping them looking respectable. Perhaps we can develop a mechanism where they can actually adopt the cemetery, and then this way, they don't have to be, laying $2,600 out of their own pocket for things that I would consider are necessary repairs, like Middle Bush, for example. Middle Bush, we spent money on repairing. We have connected Eagle Scout candidates to improving, right? This cemetery, this family took a great interest in doing, which I greatly appreciate everything they've done, but I would hate to have them inadvertently get injured on the property while they're doing work and us not have a record that they're doing the work. And I think that if we have a mechanism by which someone can adopt these cemeteries, then we can actually have a better accounting of what's going on and actually be able to assist these concerned citizens with ensuring these burial grounds are maintained properly.
That would be a good workshop item.
Yeah, so if the board has no objection,
It really would be.
I can look into some options with the town attorney on how we can actually codify that, so that, for example, the family that's interested in the Slate Cemetery, if they were to, quote, adopt that cemetery, then, we would have better communication with them, we'd be able to support their efforts, and we'd also be able to make sure that liability is minimized for any work done on the property.
Sure.
I'm good with that, sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Bill.
I mean, just from a liability point of view, we can reach out also to the town insurance carrier to see if there's any best practices for maintaining and
Yeah.
inventory of cemeteries. But,
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And
this is a holdover from really colonial times almost. Because towns, back when New York State was created, the state government did very little. Sometimes county governments did things, but everything predominantly was left to the town. And, cemeteries, they never created, a mechanism for state regulation. But oddly enough, I believe state religious cemeteries are regulated by the Attorney General's office. Any charitable entity that runs a cemetery.
Until the church folds.
Right, and which, right.
we've had.
Or until the parish or the congregation folds, right? You could have another congregation come into a church that previously maintained the cemetery, and this is one I'll talk to you offline about, where the previous congregation maintained the cemetery, now the new congregation bought the church, but let the cemetery, we'll just say, doesn't actively maintain the cemetery.
Well, I believe that like the Middle Bush Cemetery, there was a church that burned down.
Well, that particular congregation, I don't know if it burned down, but that congregation relocated to a village church, but there was no continuity between that congregation, and it was left defaulted to the town, and then the property that became town property. So that's a best practice, that one, as far as I'm concerned. That one does have Revolutionary veterans in it, and through the town and partners, Tommy Mash comes to mind, right?
Yep, exactly.
Have helped to keep an eye on that cemetery. And I think we all have a duty as custodians of the town to do our best to ensure that those that have gone before us are left in a respectable manner with respect to the burial ground. So,
And Nissan has agreed, once they get their, new design and everything, to help contribute toward the maintenance of that part that abuts Nissan as well. They
Good.
want to make that, because there's actually an entrance to the area from that side as well. So, Tommy's discovered all this.
yeah, somehow there's corn growing there. I haven't figured that one
Well,
out.
that's,
On Route 9, between Poughkeepsie, Nissan, and the cemetery,
Right.
there's corn
Right.
growing. I don't know how that happened, but.
okay. Yeah, very good. Last resolution is to acknowledge the correspondence log, Resolution 2023-44.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passed. Any other special, business?
The only last thing we have is we were asked for a change order for the highway department. At the garage, they're moving the break room from where they had planned in the existing building across to the far left bay of the mechanics room. With that, they want a change order for $411,000. Part of that was already in a future project that we have planned out, but they also need a major upgrade of the electrical. If everybody doesn't know, the mechanics are now going to be doing all of our inspections. They're in an inspection station. They're ready to go. They needed another lift, so that is going to incur additional electrical capacity. So they're looking for a resolution on a change order. You know anything about that, Jim?
I do.
Okay.
The only, and I had some emails back and forth with Frederick.
Yeah.
Frederick's recommending to increase the bond amount, because I believe this 441 goes over what was previously, I believe it was 1.4.
We're approved 1.25 million,
Yeah.
and we spent about $100,000 so far.
So, with respect to the funding, Frederick had mentioned adopting a bond resolution, which would, I don't know, I have to work out the details with Doug Goodfriend, whether it's a new bond resolution or just amending the amount in the prior bond resolution. But the one question that I have, and I don't know the answer to this, is there any additional follow-on work after this that's contemplated? Because of the same discussion regarding the highway paving.
Right.
I think, if we're looking at funding a phase in the near term, rather than just increase it by 440, I think we should include that in the bond amount. So that-
I also don't know, and I asked Jonathan to figure this out. Out of the 411 they were asking for, how much was already proposed in the other building?
Right.
So he didn't have it in front of him, so he was going to get back to us and send it over. So it could be half, I don't know what that, I don't know.
Conceptually, I agree. I don't have a problem. I think we just need to get a few more of the figures and.
They're
Yeah.
pressed for time because the contractor that's there is going to do the work, and if we wait, they're going to leave, and then,
Okay.
as we know, getting contractors in is
Right.
months.
Getting them back
in
is
the
more,
taking.
So I guess my
expensive.
one question is,
So I don't know.
with respect to the change orders, is this changing the scheduling?
Yes, it's,
Yeah, they're moving.
the break room, again, was going to be like in the third phase,
Correct.
and now they're moving it right to the first phase in the
So, I mean,
building.
I don't see a problem with the board approving the change order with the amendment for funding to come at, next meeting or the meeting after. Because the payments are not gonna be due until that time. If that, the board is in.
Then I think, we'll need a contract. I have no problem with doing it that way at
Okay.
this time.
So does the interest rate stay the same if you increase the bond rate, or do you get a new rate?
The bond rate, so you're kind of talking about two or three different things, right? So with respect to, and I believe, I think Frederick took out the whole 1.25.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's in the capital fund. So then there would be a subsequent borrowing,
But at the higher interest rate?
either, whatever, I mean, the interest rate is going, the bond resolution does not affect the interest rate. The bond resolution is just authorization to issue bonds. So there's no interest rate that's associated with the bond resolution. That is just an authorization from the town board to spend money for a particular purpose,
Right, but we know what our payments are going to be at the 1.25 at 2%. So the question is, if we do 411 or some amount above that, what rate is that going to be? Because that's certainly going to increase your payments.
again, it's not, so I mean, so there's a couple of things that play. One, so the interest rate is whatever rate is going to be in place when the bonds are issued, when they go out to be issued. That's
Right.
the interest rate that will be in play. And typically, what we do is, we will do a serial bond issuance or a van issuance, and we roll a number of projects together
Right.
to get more bang for your buck. So, and I think Frederick had basically said, we should consider doing the bond issuance for paving at the time, and also at the time of this highway garage work. And I don't know if we've got any other, we also have a project that's coming due for Tribune.
Right.
So all of the, so those are 3 separate bond resolutions with 3 separate amounts.
But aren't they in different funds?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's the other complication.
When we issue the bonds, so let's say there's $1 million on each one. So you're going to issue $3 million in debt on the town of Wappinger. So what happens is, when you go to the capital markets, you will say the town of Wappinger is going to issue $3 million in bonds for these projects. So then when that money comes in, Frederick will then put it
Into the
in a
rate fund.
account for each project.
But it could be separate bonds based on what the.
But it could be paid out of a different one, so if it's
They all
3,
get paid,
right, so they get paid out of their individual
The debt
funds.
service comes out of whatever.
Okay.
And if you issue, parks, or whatever.
Well, the
it.
sewer would be United Sewer District, right? So,
Right.
there'll be different ones.
Yeah, I think to this, we also have to, it makes sense to go forward with this now, and then kind of rescope it to see what money's coming from where and what our final price is, and make sure it's what we want.
Yeah, since you have time, pressure, so I'm all in favor of doing that if you want to make a motion.
So I'll make a motion to authorize the
Change order.
Is there
change
3 or 4 change orders?
it's one change order with
Right, it's
4
just-
contractors, if you need the contractors.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Well, there's break room, there's electrical
We
box.
should have a resolution on a change order, though. Shouldn't be, a change order should be a resolution, it shouldn't be
That's what I
off the
said, a
floor.
resolution for making the change order.
No, I'm saying a resolution
He wants
should
a
be,
written one.
Written.
it should be,
So let me-
written- for
let
a
me-
change order, there should be a written resolution, it shouldn't be off the floor.
Okay.
I mean, if it can be documented for the next meeting.
So can we, I was just going to say, can we have it for the 27th? Is that going to be too late for them?
I don't know.
It will be?
I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, if you want to do it, we can create a resolution right
Right.
now, if you want to. If it's going to affect the timeline, then certainly, I don't have an objection to that, but traditionally,
I get very few calls from Jonathan from CPL. This was frantic.
okay, if it's something imminent, then
Yes.
as long as we can articulate it properly for the town clerk.
so let me just pull up his email.
Yeah.
Do you have those emails, Jim?
I do, I'm pulling it up right now.
Okay.
So there is 4 change orders. And the first change order is electrical, and I'll forward these to you, Joe, so you have them. Is the electrical work. The contractor is MEHL, M-E-H-L, and the amount is $97,550. The second change order is mechanical, DJ heating and air conditioning, in the amount of $99,379. The fourth change order is for plumbing,
I missed the third one.
Oh, I'm sorry, third one? I'm sorry,
Second one.
third one. I skipped ahead. Third change order is for plumbing, S&O, in the amount of $66,000, $575.95. And then the last contract is the GC contract with Roselle in the amount of $148,450. And the total of all four change orders is $411,954.95. And I believe, I'll have to check, I believe these are all the first change, are these the first change orders, Chris?
Yes,
Would you know?
we haven't had a
I
previous
think
change
this is
order.
the first one, yeah.
These are
So
the first ones.
they're all change order number one on each of those contracts.
Okay? Everybody's good?
Joe, you okay?
Okay.
Okay, I have no objection to move forward.
I'll second it if you,
Okay, first,
Chris is the first, right?
second,
I
all in
second
favor?
it.
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you. Okay, any other business for quick consideration?
Just real quick, this Friday is St. Patrick's Day, and I wanted to thank the town board and the residents of the town and village for the honor of your support as Grand Marshal of the Dutchess County St. Patrick's Parade on March 4th, which certainly was a typical Irish weather day, right? Started out cold and rainy, but the sun finally came out, and thousands came out to celebrate that day, and it was certainly the honor of a lifetime to be the Grand Marshal and to represent the town, and to see so many residents out there on the streets of the village on that great day. So I thank you all for your participation and support, and I'll be back on the reviewing stand next year.
Very good. Thank you, Bill. Congratulations
Thank you,
again. I have a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. And be safe out there.
Thank you.
Check
Thank
on
you.
your neighbors, your
Yeah.
seniors especially.